TBTL.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Hey Dummies. I'm Andrew and I will be your dummy today. We have sort of a involved question here, so I'm going to get right into it, okay? I'm going to stare. I'm looking at me and I can see all of this glow of my computer is really affecting the lighting in here. Will this help if I turn down the... Yeah, look, if I turn the brightness down on this computer, it's a little less dramatic, huh? I got a note here from listener Kelsey who says... By the way, do you know how Hey Dummies works? Have we established that? You send us questions. Andrew at tbtl.net is the email address. You write Hey Dummies in the subject line. Then you ask us a question, personal questions, professional questions, whatever it is. Luke and I will do our best to answer them. That's how it works. You probably already knew that. Kelsey did that. Kelsey wrote, what is something you bought recently that was supposed to be life-changing, but it ended up being terrible? For example, the happiest days of this tub shroom bathtub drain hair catcher owner's life are the day I bought it and the day I threw it away. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. If you didn't follow that, I'll come back to that in a second. The next part of Kelsey's question is also, what is something that you bought recently that you were reluctant to purchase but ended up being fantastic? This millennial felt peer pressure to get a pair of cool girl straight leg jeans to replace my skinny jeans, and I am thrilled to report that I'm a total convert. Okay, so that's awesome. Let's come back to the first part of this. What is something you bought that was supposed to be life-changing, but it ended up being terrible? And what Kelsey is referring to is Kelsey bought something called a tub shroom bathroom drain hair catcher and ended up hating it, is basically what she's saying there. Now, are you familiar with tub shrooms? Because I reached out directly to Kelsey after receiving this and said, Kelsey, I am actually a tub shroom user and advocate. In fact, this is a tub shroom. Let's see, where's my camera? Sorry, which camera am I talking into? Which camera? This camera? Okay, this camera over here. I like to pretend I got a lot of cameras, big fancy late night show. This is the tub shroom hair catcher. So most hair catchers in a sink, a basin, a bathtub or something might be something more like concave, right? That you kind of put in there and it traps the hair before it can go down the drain. This you actually insert down into the drain, and it's a little bit more handsome because you can, it sort of just looks like a bathtub plug or something there and looks like kind of fake chrome. But you stick this down into the drain, and I don't know exactly the physics behind it, but it catches the hair as the water goes down the drain, the hair circles around this thing. And then when you pull this out of the tub after, I don't know, 4, 5, 7 uses or something in the shower, you will find the hair has been collected around this cylinder and you can kind of peel it off. Now, is it gross? Yeah, it's a little bit gross. And I reached out to Kelsey. I'm like, what did you not like about the tub shroom? And she said, it was so disgusting. First of all, when you have like kind of soap, like soap residue with hair and it's all wrapped around, it's a gross job. You got to kind of pull this thing up, take a little piece of paper towel or bathroom tissue or something, and then you kind of got to peel it all off and clean it and throw that away, and then you put it back in. And it is true that over time, I think especially here in the Pacific Northwest, where we have this sort of, in areas in our bathrooms, we have sort of a pink slime buildup. I don't remember growing up with that. I think it's kind of maybe regional based on the atmosphere. I'm not exactly sure about it. But these things will start to like kind of get really like mildewy and pink slimy from time to time. So I will take it out every now and then and actually kind of give it a cleaning with like a Q-tip or something, which I understand. Like that's a lot. Like I don't mind if I'm puttering around listening to a podcast every now and then cleaning my little shroom hair catcher thing, but I understand why that wouldn't be for everybody. I think Kelsey, I reached out and I was like, is it the grossness? And she's like, yeah, I just felt like the grossest person in the world with this thing. But I buy 2 packs of these things and maybe I use one for about a year, maybe less than a year. Eventually it gets too gross. I throw it away and I put a brand new one in like this. I like it. I prefer it to the like the kind that'll just like kind of screen out the hair. But anyway, so we don't see exactly eye to eye on that, Kelsey. Also on that question, something that I bought that was supposed to be life-changing but ended up being terrible. I got to be honest with you, I'm punting on that question. I've been thinking about this. You sent this in weeks ago. And I seriously had been brainstorming and brainstorming, and I couldn't think of any examples of something that I really thought was going to change my life and ended up not being that great. I mean, some of the computers I use, like this one over here, old Glowbot that I was talking about a second ago, there are some issues with it. Don't say that around Genevieve because she has a similar computer that she hates, and so I always defend it. It's my Dell XPS 13. But I will say that when you invest a lot of money in a computer and you know that's going to be your main, I mean, honestly, besides Genevieve, my computer is my main companion in everything, right? Work, life, whatever you take it with you. Like, your computer is such an important part of your life, especially as a broadcaster or a microcaster or whatever I am. When it doesn't act perfectly, it can get a little frustrating. And that's why it's always, I've been meaning to buy a new computer for like, I don't know, like a year now, but I get so nervous because I'm going to plunk down a whole bunch of money on something, and then I know when it arrives, I'm going to learn, like, oh, it doesn't take the right USB for this particular, like, I have all these, like, particular functions I need for my work, so I don't know. I'm sort of punting on that question, but let's come back to your last question, Kelsey, which was, what is something that you didn't really think that much about, and then you bought it and it ended up being life-changing? Well, again, I can't think of anything that I bought myself personally that fits that category, but there have been a couple of things in my life that other people have bought me that I would have never thought about buying myself necessarily, but ended up being huge game changers. I'm going to start with, I have two examples of this. Well, I'll start with the one that is the most recent. And maybe I shouldn't say I would have never bought this myself, but I had a really old junky record player that I barely used because it was old and junky and not very convenient. And I think I maybe mentioned to Genevieve at some point, I'm like, at some point I'd like to get a new record player, but didn't really think much beyond it. Well, Genevieve got me a nice record player for Christmas. I've talked about it on the show a lot. And like, it has really changed the way I go about my business. And when I talk about my business, I mean hanging out in my basement. It's so fun. I'm going to record stores now. It's introduced, like, I'm so excited about, like, this one object has actually changed how I might go about my Saturday. If I'm going to get lunch somewhere, maybe I'll try to go near a record store. We can go record shopping. And I love hanging out in the basement with Genevieve and playing darts and listening to, full records together. And it had such a huge impact on both my hangout times in the basement and how I conduct myself when I'm puttering around town. And the other thing that was a gift, and this goes back maybe 8 years now, 7 years or something, is I had always been using just regular kind of earphones that I would plug into my phone. I know, like, that sounds so antiquated now. And it was already starting to get a little antiquated back. I'm going to say 7 years ago. I was visiting my parents, and my dad got me a pair of Bluetooth headphones, over the ear like this, but without the wire, Bluetooth headphones. And at the time, it wasn't something I'd even thought about. I was like, this is fine with my little earbud things. And then the moment I got them and put them on, I'm like, game changer. I loved them so much. And then I wore them nonstop. Genevieve would sometimes make me take them off if I was going to, like, take a shower or something. But aside from that, I wore them into the ground. And since then, I've continued to buy Bluetooth headphones, which, again, I know everybody has Bluetooth headphones these days, but I'm still sticking with the over-the-ear kind. In fact, these are some nice ones I just bought. My other one's broke, and so I had to get some new ones. These are now JBLs. They just came this week, and they're only a couple of days old. I don't know if you can tell in this lighting, but they're kind of a blue color. I went with blue instead of black or white, and the noise cancellation on these things is amazing. So anyway, that was one of those gifts, again, going back a ways, where my dad gave me this. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I can try these. Like, never really thought about getting Bluetooth headphones before. And then as soon as I wasn't tethered to my audio source, it was just like, I could never go back to the old ways. So thanks, Dad. All right, so that's it. That's the Hey Dummies. I feel like I've been talking very quickly for a long time and about a lot of things not very interesting. But, Kelsey, your question was interesting. Hope I did it justice. If you guys would like to email me a question, email me andrew@tbtl.net. Put Hey Dummies in the subject line. We could always use new questions. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.